What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was banished and made every Kage kneel before him? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. It was a hard-fought battle nearing its end. Naruto, let's end this, stated Uchiha Sasuke, as he infused the power of the cursed seal into his Chidori, turning it black. Naruto just looked down, tightened his fist and said, "Sasuke, even if I have to break every bone in your body, I won't let Orochimaru have you," he yelled, pouring the power of the Kyuubi into his Rasengan, turning it purple. They looked at each other for what seemed like a lifetime before finally charging towards each other. With a yell they thrust their just you forward. Chidori, Rasengan. Just as Sasuke's Chidori pierced Naruto's heart, a warm feeling flowed through his chakra pathways, instantly turning Naruto's Rasengan green. Then a burning sensation flowed through his eyes, making them flash red for a nanosecond. With a newfound determination, he blasted Sasuke back with enough force that it shook the entire valley. Pant, looks like I did it, Sasuke. Not knowing where the newfound strength came from, he lifted the unconscious Uchiha and turned back to Konoha, not noticing the newly grown trees surrounding the valley. After some time, a Venus strap-like creature with half its face white the other black emerged from the foot of one of the statues and spoke. "Looks like our help won't be needed in removing the seal." The one with black face spoke. "Yes." The Uchiha pierced the exact spot the seal was located, which was in the middle of the heart. The white half continued. "Soon Madara and Hashirama's legacy will awaken." They both spoke mysteriously and vanished without a trace. Konohagakure. When the gate of Konoha came into, Sasuke began to gain consciousness. Noticing him, Naruto spoke. "Sasuke, you are one stubborn bastard, you know that?" he said. Sasuke just shifted uncomfortably and spoke, "I lost." After a moment of silence spoke, "I'm sorry Naruto, I didn't know what I was doing," he said as a few tears flowed from his eyes before losing consciousness again. Naruto was shocked that the Uchiha was crying before cracking a small smile. "Well Sasuke, I look at Sakura-chan." "Oi Sakura-chan," Naruto called out, waving the pink-haired Kunichi waiting at the massive gate of Konoha. Sakura was snapped put of her thoughts when she heard Naruto's voice. Beaming when she saw Sasuke, she waved back and ran to meet her teammates. "Naruto, you did it," she said happily. "I can't believe you actually did." She stopped midway when she saw their current state. Naruto was already healed but not without a few bruises. Sasuke on the other hand had dried blood on his lips, swollen left eye, and he was bleeding from his forehead where his Hite was absent. Sakura just stood rooted to the spot before yelling at Naruto. "You baka, I told you to bring him back, not beat him half to death," she yelled, yanking Sasuke from Naruto's back and running straight to Konoha's hospital without giving Naruto time to explain. Naruto just stood confused before sighing and slowly began to walk towards the Hokage tower. Can today get any worse? He thought. Little did he know those words will come back to haunt him for a long time. Hokage Tower. After a heated argument between the Hokage's secretary and Naruto, who was seeking an audience with the fifth Hokage, he rudely walked into the Hokage chambers. Nearing the Hokage office, he thought he heard his name been mentioned, and stopped to listen. "Naruto must be banished from this village," a slightly familiar voice spoke. Tsunade's voice answered. "Oh? On what terms?" "Don't play dumb, Tsunade. I know you too felt the power of the Kyuubi miles away. What if the Kyuubi is or has already influenced the boy? He is a danger to us all and you." Naruto felt Tsunade's chakra spike as the sound of wood splattered within the room. Naruto shook his head. "Since when did I start to sense chakra?" he thought. "I am the Hokage, my word is law, and you Danzo will address me as Hokage-sama, got it?" she yelled as her chakra increased. A muffled, "hi," was heard as the chakra subsided. Naruto just smiled. "At least Ba-chan is on my side." Sensing a couple chakra signature rushing to the Hokage's office, he found the nearest window, jumped through it, and left for home. When he got home he took his bath, and was getting ready to prepare a cup of instant ramen when he heard a knock on his door. Rushing to answer it, he saw Hinata. "Hinata, how are you?" he asked, smiling slightly before earning a look of confusion on his face, seeing the shy heiress with tears on her face. Hinata just rushed in and hugged him, earning more confusion from Naruto. I'm sorry, please forgive me Naruto-kun," she said, weeping. Shush, it's okay, tell me what happened, Naruto said after she released him. My father just came from the council meeting a few minutes ago and they voted for you to be banished, she said as she burst into more tears. Naruto just smiled and said, is that why you are crying? Don't worry, Tsunade-ba-chan won't allow it. Hinata shook her head. You don't understand, Tsunade-sama voted for you to be banished, she. Knock knock. Naruto went to the door and saw an Anbu who said he has been summoned to the council room. Naruto nodded with confusion. Hinata just cried openly, just barely a month have been a couple now you about to be banished. Naruto, a few days after returning to the village with the 5th Hokage, Naruto was surprised when the shy Kunichi came and confessed her love to him, telling him she has been in love with him for a long time, and was the one bringing him his birthday gift each year. Naruto, surprised, accepted the feelings and they began dating, keeping their relationship secret from the public. Then Sasuke retrieval mission came up, and then this. Don't worry Hina-chan, everything is going to be okay, Naruto assured Hinata. Kissing her on her forehead bid her goodbye for the day and left for the council room. Council room. When Naruto entered the council room, he met only the Hokage and her advisors. They turned to face him. Uzumaki. Naruto, Tsunade spoke in a monotone tone. You have been summoned by the council, concerning your last mission. You and the retrieval team were assigned to bring back the Uchiha, not beat him half to death. Found you wanting, the council have voted for you to be banished. You have an hour to leave the village. Naruto just stared, his mouth wide open. I don't understand. Your time starts now, Danzo said with a mischievous grin. The Anbu who called Naruto to the council room was tasked to escort him home and out of the village. Village gate. Having packed his little things, the Anbu shushined him to the gate and was watching him, so Naruto started walking away. The very village you sworn to protect, are the one casting you out, and you couldn't do anything pathetic. This is why I hate humans, too weak. A deep voice from the corners of Naruto's mind spoke up. Kyuubi, Naruto just said downcast. Meet me, I have something for you, the Nine Tails spoke again. Mindscape. Naruto mysteriously found himself in the familiar sewers again, walking towards the Nine Tails who spoke before he could speak. You might have noticed that your chakra pathways are larger, you can sense chakra, and you find yourself attracted to nature. Naruto raised an eyebrow. How did? Your bloodline was released from its sealed state when the Uchiha pierced your heart with his childori. When you were younger, the third sealed your bloodline after a mob attacked you on your 6th birthday. You awakened the Mokuton, wood release. With it you killed half the mob and before passing out you awakened the Sharingan. The third, afraid of what the council would do to you when they found out, sealed your bloodline and erased the memory of the other civilians, keeping you safe. Only your godfather Jiraiya knew. But Danzo later found out, so the third sealed a small amount of his chakra to speak to you in case the seal was released by Danzo. Hello Naruto. Naruto, who was taking time to digest what the Kyuubi just said, turned and saw the third Hokage in his usual Hokage gear. GG. Naruto said, why did you not tell me? The third walked forward and spoke, to protect you Naruto. If I had not done that, imagine what the council would have done to you. They would have made you into a breeding stock. To father different Kunichi you didn't know, I want a. But you were the fucking Hokage GG. Or are you too soft to put the civilian council at their rightfull place? Naruto yelled as chakra started flowing round him. His eyes glowed blood red as 3 Tomo appeared. 3 Tomo? The third thought as bead of sweat rolled down his side. The Kyuubi saved him by speaking, your father wouldn't have wanted that. This seemed to calm him down as the chakra subsided, but his Sharingan was still active. Who is my father? The third just glared at the Kyuubi before sighing. Your father was the Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato. This calmed Naruto down as his Sharingan faded away. So I was right all along. You knew, the third spoke, and you are not angry? No, he was the Hokage and he was doing his job, but you GG am disappointed. Please forgive me Naruto, Sarutobi said before he started to glow. Looks like my chakra is running out Naruto. I hope we meet again. Well, not too soon, he stated with a little chuckle. I hope you take the hat one day Naruto. Were his last words before he disappeared. So he didn't know I was banished, Naruto thought. He is dead, the Kyuubi said before continuing, and I have been sensing a couple chakra signature following us since we left Konoha. I will take care of them, Naruto said before he turned and said to the Kyuubi, arigato. The Kyuubi was shocked and narrowed his eyes before smiling, then he grunted. Outside Mindscape. Naruto stopped and turned. You can come out now, he called out. A dozen Anbu stepped forward. We have been. I don't have time for this, Naruto interrupted. Running through hand seals, Naruto called out. Mokuton. Jukai Koden. Trees sprouted from the earth, making them gasp out in shock. The trees rushed towards them, catching them off guard, tearing through them. The remaining ones leapt back and flew through hand seals and called out. Kaden. Gukakyu no just you. Futon. Daitapa. The wind and fire combination easily defeated the previous wood attack. Drawing their swords and kunai, they rushed towards Naruto, who created his favorite just you Kage. Bushin no jutsu. A dozen clones burst forward with a puff and charged towards the upcoming assaults. Sounds of swords and kunais clashing together was heard. The original Naruto stood back and watched with his Sharingan active. Having took care of the clones, the Anbu commander charged towards Naruto, going for a horizontal slash, but to his surprise Naruto easily dodged his attack, and in an instant a Rasengan appeared in Naruto's left hand, which he slammed into the commander's stomach, earning a yell in return as he was blasted away. We clearly underestimated you, one of the Anbu spoke up after witnessing his commander's defeat, to think you had the Sharingan and the Mokuton. Naruto just walked up to him with his Sharingan spinning wildly, and a loud scream was heard. Konohagakure. Jiraiya burst into the Hokage's office without knocking. Please tell me it isn't true, he asked Tsunade, who just looked down. Jiraiya's eyes widened. Tsunade, you didn't. He was his son, for Christ's sake. Scratch that. Do you know what happened to the child you had with Dan? No. I raised her and Minato, who grew to love each other before they had your godson, who in fact is your grandchild. Tsunade with tears on her face spoke. Naruto. That's it Tsunade, I quit, the Toad Sanin said before turning to leave. Jiraiya, please. I need you now more than ever. I didn't know how it happened. Danzo came to visit me after a heated argument, he left. That all I remember. When I came to Shizune told me I agreed to the banishment. Please, you have to believe me. Tsunade pleaded with tears. Jiraiya just turned to look at her and said, I will go and look for Naruto, train him. He's in danger. A group seeking the tailed beast called Akatsuki are after him. I will be in touch. Were his last words before he disappeared. Tsunade just screamed out in frustration as she cried. Time skipped 2 years. A lot has happened since Naruto's banishment. After Onoki, the third, found out the Leaf's Jinchuriki was banished, IWA formed an alliance with Otogakure, with only one goal, to destroy Konoha. When Gaara heard what happened to Naruto, the first thing he wanted to do as Kage was to cut the ties between Konoha and Suna, but after much persuasions from Jiraiya, who advised him not to cut the ties, he heeded to Jiraiya's advice. When Naruto told him that if the ties was severed, IWA and Otto will most likely invade Suna. Konoha, which was always bright before, was dull. The Konoha's 11, or rather 12, after adding a strange boy named Sai to Team Kakashi, made them 12. They were always seen training after Naruto's banishment. When they attained Chunin, they were brought to light concerning what really happened on the day the Kyuubi attacked. The fourth didn't kill the beast but sealed it in their banished teammate. Team Kurenai and Guy, who could tell the difference between a scroll and a kunai, didn't see Naruto differently. Also with Sasuke and Shikamaru, who both connected the dots, but Kiba, who hated Naruto because Hinata liked him, regarded him as a demon, and also with Sakura, who never forgave him for hurting Sasuke. The luck Konoha had was that Jiraiya still loved the place, informing Tsunade of IWA and Otto's plans, making them prepare, avoiding heavy casualties when Orochimaru first struck. The one whose Naruto's banishment affected the most apart from Hinata was Sasuke. After waking up 3 days after his battle with Naruto, he heard the news from Sakura, who barely left his side. He then vowed to continue Naruto's dream of becoming Hokage and then put himself into intense training with Kakashi and Guy. Learning ninjutsu from Kakashi and taijutsu from Guy, he began practicing kenjutsu and his newly awakened Mangekyo Sharingan abilities in secret with Kakashi. Hinata was the one to take the banishment hard. She refused to leave her room for a week, and during a training session with her sister Hanabi, who called Naruto weak and worthless, just to say the poor girl spent a month in the hospital, and after receiving a lecture from her father concerning her anger which got the best of her, Hinata became even more withdrawn and shy. Her daily routine was wake up, meet up with her team, go on missions, get back, lock herself indoors all day. According to everyone, that is her daily routine. But secretly she sneaks away from her room to a secluded area in the Forest of Death, where she trains with Anko, who found out her secret. When the forces of Orochimaru became too powerful for Konoha, the council decided to hire a group of mercenaries who double-crossed them, leading to a heavy hit in Konoha's forces. Left with no other choice, the council called for an urgent meeting. The purpose was, "We have to bring back the Fourth's legacy," was dropped on the table, before murmuring filled the room. "Well, having him here will certainly bring fear to Iwa's forces." Fourth's legacy? Is he that powerful? Minato never had a kid, so what's this? Tsunade cleared her throat, earning everyone's attention, before she started to speak. Having him here will certainly bring fear to the Stone Village, knowing their past encounter with his father, who is the fourth Hokage, and to add he is my grandson, my lost daughter Kushina, who I thought was dead, was raised by Jiraiya, who was the master of the fourth and Kushina practically grew up together, before they had Naruto. Everywhere was instantly silent, with each person staring at Tsunade as if she just grew a second head. Well, they have the right to stare, considering I just claimed the village pariah as my grandson. Oh, if only I had a camera, Tsunade thought. I still don't understand, a civilian stated. Shika, the leader of the Nara clan, just tossed him a green pocketbook and said, "Page 40. The civilian merchant just read out loud. Name: Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. Age: 16 to 17. Rank: High A rank. Village: formerly of Konoha. Abilities: all known abilities of the Sharingan, Mokuton, Chakra Chains, Summoning, all known abilities of the fourth Hokage. Family: parents: Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina, rumored grandson of Senju Tsunade, and great-grandson of the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. Appearance: waist-length blonde hair, with jaw-length covering left eye, 6 feet 1 inches. Reward: Otogakure 90,000 ryo, alive. Iwagakure 120,000 ryo, dead or alive. After the information was read out to the hearing of the whole council, some openly gulped. He's the most expensive wanted ninja. Shika spoke again with a little pride. Well, it's time we voted. I have other things to do, Tsunade said, but was surprised to find the civilian side quiet. All in favor? She asked. Reluctantly, they all agreed. Well, the Konohas 12 are tasked to bring him back, Tsunade said, raising her fingers. An Anbu appeared. Notify the teams and tell them to meet me in the Hokage Tower in 5 minutes, and get Yamato for me. With a hi, the Anbu shushined away. Unknown location. Again, a sharp voice said. While kneeling on the floor, a boy with waist-length blonde hair inhaled sharply and stood up. Focusing his chakra on both of his hands, a blue ball of chakra was visible. Beads of sweat rolled from his sides. As the chakra expanded with 4 blades spinning round the sides, it started vibrating as its color changed. His right hand was spinning a vibrant yellow with sparks dancing round it, and on his left a vibrant red with little magmas rounding it. After a few seconds, the just you started glowing as the boy threw them away. They both exploded, a safe distance away from the boy, who was now breathing heavily. You did great, Naruto, the voice spoke again. Jiraiya-sensei, you're praising him too much, another voice playfully stated. Cut big brother some slack, Suigetsu, a female voice said. Come on Karen, you know I'm right. Karen just smiled slightly. Your idea of a joke is not funny, Suigetsu, another male voice said. Jugo, no one called you in this, Suigetsu said. Naruto has grown a lot in the past 2 years. The once short midget now stood with a height of 6 feet 1 inch. His short hair now reached his upper waist, with jaw length that covers his left eye. All the baby fat on his face were now replaced by muscles. His whiskers had somehow disappeared. Think Madara with blonde hair. A year and a half after his banishment, Naruto found out he had a twin sister named Karen. He and Jiraiya immediately went after one of Orochimaru's hideout. Having found out from one of his spies about Karen, they set out to free her. Flashback. A few kilometers from the hideout, Naruto and Jiraiya felt a huge wave of killing intent, and a familiar chakra. Is that the Kyuubi's chakra? Jiraiya asked. Let's hurry, Naruto said, increasing his speed. Arriving at an open space, They both saw a miniature Kyuubi with 4 tails swallowing a condensed ball of chakra. Is that? Jiraiya asked, half surprised. Naruto's Sharingan just switched to the Mangekyo, which was pure black, and in the middle is a cracked circle with 3 orbs in it. Activating his Susanoo, which was sky blue in color. A ribcage formed round Naruto and Jiraiya, protecting them from the suspected upcoming attack. After a moment, the miniature Kyuubi expanded, as smoke flowed from its mouth, then a female voice called out. Bijudama. The released tailed beast attack was devastating, as the huge mountain disguising as Orochimaru's hideout was completely destroyed. As a huge crater appeared after the dust subsided, Naruto, powering down his Susanoo, rushed to where his last sensed the Kyuubi chakra. Reaching there, he saw, in place of a rampaging 4-tailed miniature Kyuubi, a girl with vibrant red hair and dark blue eyes. The girl's eyes widened as she saw Naruto. "Ni-san," she yelled as she hugged Naruto, who returned the hug. "How did you know?" Naruto asked. "When Orochimaru kidnapped me from the couple Sandaime-sama give me to, he started making me donate blood to his experiment. Then one day Papa came to me in my mindscape and explained everything to me. A few hours ago, he attempted to take my body, but Kurama somehow ejected him out with his chakra. He ordered his guards to kill me, and said something about coming back later. I just took care of them before I felt your chakra." The more Naruto heard of Orochimaru's name, the more he gritted his teeth. "It's okay, I'm here." Jiraiya just cleared his throat, earning a weird look from Karen. "Jiraiya-sensei?" she asked, then ran up and hugged him. "Ni-san, we have to rescue some of my friends from the North Hideout." "Friends?" Naruto asked with a raised brow. "Please?" Karen added. Naruto just signed, and they set out to the North Hideout. On getting there, Karen spoke. "They are both locked in the same floor below." Naruto just made a single hand seal and a clone appeared. The clone grabbed Karen and both disappeared in a flash of yellow. "You have faith in that clone of yours," Jiraiya said. "I marked her with the Hireishin mark. Any trouble I quickly teleport in, and we have to distract the entire hideout." "More like attract the whole hideout," Jiraiya added, which made Naruto smirk. Flying through hand seals, Naruto's cheeks puffed, and he breathed out his "just you." Kaden. Goka Mekakyu, fire-style majestic flame destroyer. Jiraiya just stared at the ocean of flame as it engulfed the entire hideout. After the flame died down, multiple chakra signature rushed towards Naruto and Jiraiya. "You know that your sister is inside the hideout before you attempted to cook everyone in it, right?" Numerous shinobi wearing the headband with the kanji for sound appeared and questioned. "Who are you?" Another spoke. Waist-length blonde hair, Sharingan. He unconsciously took a step back and fell to his butt, having realized who was standing before them. The Yellow Flash's son, descendant of Senju Hashirama, the first Hokage. The others, who haven't heard of Naruto, said, "Get him." They charged at him. Jiraiya stepped aside and said, "Try not to make it messy," making Naruto smirk. Cracking his knuckles, Naruto's hand glowed with chakra as he too charged. The first ninja threw a left hook at Naruto, but to his surprise, his hand phased through Naruto as if he was a ghost. A glance at his eyes, he noticed his Sharingan was different. That was the last thing he saw, as Naruto punched him in the chest, shattering his ribcage and at the same time damaging his heart. Naruto's Sharingan started calculating their movement as he flared his chakra, calling out, "Childori Naganshi," expelling lightning chakra from his body. The incoming Auto Nin were not spared as they were electrocuted, burned beyond recognition. The others leapt back and flashed through hand seals before calling out, "Kaden. Goryuka no just you, fire-style great fire dragon technique. Futon. Daitapa, wind release great breakthrough. Ration. Jabanshi, lightning release false darkness." The just you combined, forming a purple dragon. With a roar, the dragon charged forward. Naruto just stood staring at the dragon with his arms folded, before it collided against him as a massive dust filled the air. "We got him," a random nin stated. The others let out the breath they didn't know they were holding. The commander stood with his eyes narrowed, sensing something was not right. His thoughts were confirmed as numerous fireballs emerged from the huge cloud of dust, killing the ninjas who dropped their guards. Naruto appeared untouched as he ran forward, Sharingan spinning wildly, meeting the first nin, who said, "We got him." Naruto held him by his throat, raised him up with little or no effort and said, Do you think a simple A rank just you can kill me? None of you are worthy to dance with me? Tilting his head to the left, he dodged an incoming kunai meant to strike him from behind. The kunai pierced the auto chunin he was holding squarely in the face. Naruto threw the nin away and said, I have gotten myself too dirty with these worthless opponents. Time to end this. A sword appeared from his pocket dimension. Taking hold of it, he stabbed it on the ground and lightning danced around the sword. With a bored expression he called out, Ration. Kage Thunderbolto. Lightning came from the heavens and touched the sword, channeling his chakra into the sword. He took control of the lightning and directed it to the auto nins. All these happened in less than 2 seconds as the whole ninjas were electrocuted. Jiraiya just frowned. I told you not to make it messy, he said. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders. In a flash, his clone, Karen and 2 other unfamiliar people appeared. Without wasting time, Naruto teleported them into his pocket dimension. But not without leaving a glowing ball of condensed black chakra, which exploded, reducing the hideout to a huge crater. Flashback end. Zetsu appeared, snapping Naruto off his thoughts. Naruto-sama, some Konoha ninjas are coming this way, he stated, immediately putting everyone on alert. How did they find us? Suigetsu said, eager to fight with the man who killed Zabuza. His hands unconsciously rubbed the executioner blade strapped to his back. It doesn't matter, they are a few minutes away from here, and what's with these chakra? They're huge, Karen said. Jiraiya just looked at Naruto, who was awfully quiet. What are you going to do, Naruto? Jiraiya said. Zetsu, hold them off for me, let me get ready. Naruto looked at his team. Don't interfere, he spoke emotionlessly before he flashed away. Jiraiya just sighed, damn it. I wanted to meet the guy who fought Zabuza-senpai, Suigetsu said in frustration. Karen, with a frown on her face, said within herself, I hope you know what you are doing, Ni-san. Outside hideout. Neji, what do you see? Kakashi asked the Hyuga prodigy. Neji, deactivating his Byakugan, exhaled and said, so far, nothing. The entire place is covered with seals, I can't even see a single thing inside. Kakashi turned to Hinata, who meekly nodded, confirming Neji's words. All the while Sasuke has been staring at a huge tree, which stood out amongst the others. Anything the problem, Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. Sasuke turned to look at her, taking in the new Sakura. Different from the useless fangirl who fawned over him those years, she was now wearing a red top accompanying this, or black gloves, low-heel knee-level boots, black shorts, and the most noticeable feature was her short hair, which she kept short after fighting the sound team in the Chunin exams. Having realized he has been staring for more than a few seconds, he blinked and said, something seems off with this tree. It's like it was made to grow here. Neji immediately activated his Byakugan and gasped. Everyone get away from that tree. Immediately they all teleported to a safe distance. To their greatest surprise, a white Zetsu clone emerged from the tree, making some of them raise their eyebrow. Then another appeared, and another, and another. Immediately the whole area was occupied with Zetsu clones. Then one spoke, if you want to meet Naruto-sama, you have to go through us. Sasuke stepped forward, his hair shadowing his eyes. Naruto, I know you can hear me, come out, I attack. The Zetsu yelled to each other, cutting Sasuke's speech short. With a battle cry they rushed forward. Inside hideout. For over 30 minutes, Naruto waited. If they can't simply figure out this simply puzzle, then they truly are weak, he thought to himself. After a few moments he felt Sasuke's chakra spike, then he grunted, HN. They finally did it, took longer than I expected. Outside hideout. Breathing heavily, the Konoha nins looked at Sasuke, who just ended the endless barrage of Zetsu clones. With his Susanoo, he uprooted the suspicious tree which seemed to spawn the clones again and again. Deactivating his Susanoo, Sasuke, panting from its use, looked ahead of the hideout with a smile, seeing the sealed entrance now open. Everyone okay? Kakashi questioned. Observing themselves, they nodded. Okay, everybody inside. But be cautious, Kakashi added. Stepping forward into the hideout, the entrance closed. Then they saw 4 hallways, each leading to an unknown destination. We have to split up for this to work, Guy said. Kakashi nodded and said, each join to their team. Then the teams split, each to one hallway. Sai, knowing his team were paying attention to the hallways, quietly bent down and brought out a scroll and his ink. Drawing dozens of tiny rats, casted his Just You, which brought the rats to life, each sprinting to a random location. Half an hour later, the teams meet at the entrance of the 4 hallways again. Frustrated, Sasuke just punched the wall, before Hinata asked, "Where is Sai?" Then a large explosion shook the entire hideout. Few minutes ago, Sai, having ditched his team, got a signal from one of his rats, that Naruto has been found. Quickly and quietly he rushed to the room. Arriving there, he quietly opened the door and saw Naruto asleep with his back turned away from him. With his scroll and ink, he drew a long snake which silently crawled toward Naruto and quickly tied him. Sai with confidence stood up and walked toward Naruto only to hear him speak. "I have been patient with you guys to find me. Yet here I find an unknown shinobi with this pitiful just you, HN." Naruto raised his hands and lightning sparked to life, lighting the whole room before the explosion occurred. Presently, coughs. Sai coughed dryly from the massive cloud of dust covering the surrounding before a hand appeared out of nowhere and grabbed him. "Sai!" Sasuke yelled as he lifted the pale ninja. "What the fuck are you doing?" "I suspected he was given a secret mission, but I never knew it was to kill Naruto-kun," Hinata added. While all the bickering was going on, Naruto just stood at the roof of the hideout, courtesy of his previous just you. Observing his former friends, Naruto couldn't help but smile a little. Then his eyes rested on Hinata, who has grown more beautiful since he last saw her. Naruto shook his head. "Feelings mean nothing to me now," he thought to himself. Having seen enough, he decided to make his presence known. "Hinata," Naruto called out emotionlessly. Everyone was immediately on guard as they heard the voice. Hinata just froze. That voice, she thought, as she turned and whispered, "Naruto-kun." With the sun directly behind him, giving him a cool look on his emotionless face, coupled with his new appearance, the Kunichi couldn't help but blush. Sasuke grinned wildly. "Naruto," he expressed happily. "What do you want?" Naruto asked, his face displaying no emotion. Kakashi stepped forward and addressed his former student. "We have been tasked to return you to Konoha, ordered by the council and the Hokage." Naruto just sighed. "Figures," Kurama thought from the corners of his mind. "What are you going to do, Naruto?" "I refuse to accept the offer," Naruto spoke out bluntly. The Jonin just shifted uncontrollably. "There will be a real fight soon, if someone don't control himself," Asuma thought to himself, looking at Kiba who was tightening his fist. Sasuke tightened his fist, and wanted to yell when Hinata raised her hand, silencing him, earning a confused look from Sasuke. Hinata ignored it and looked at Naruto while biting her lip. "Naruto-kun, please," she began. Naruto just stared with boredom written over his face. "If I have wronged you, please. My problem is not with you, Hyuga, but with your village and its council." Hinata's heart ached from the words, Hyuga. Neji just frowned. So Naruto is really gone. "I pray Hinata takes this lightly," he thought. Then Hinata spoke out. "Konoha bleeds as we speak, children dying. You have heard of the war going on between Orochimaru, right? I heard you are the descendant of Lord Hashirama, would he?" Naruto flared his chakra as he yelled, "Don't not speak his name in my presence again, Hyuga." The teams shook from the massive amount of killing intent Naruto directed at each of them. Hinata, not knowing where the boldness came from, spoke out, "Lord Hashirama wouldn't have wanted this." Naruto just frowned as the killing intent subsided, activating his Sharingan. He blinked surprised when he measured Hinata's chakra level, which is on par with Kakashi. Her voice interrupted his calculations. "If you don't agree to come with us, even if you are clearly stronger than me, with my last breath I will make sure you come home with me." Naruto just stared at her, the anxiousness to fight her slowly building up. He smirked. "So with your last breath you will make sure I come home with you," Naruto spoke. In an instant he was by Hinata, his left arm on her right shoulder, and his right holding a sword from. Where it came from no one knows. "What if I kill you right here, right now?" Hinata stood her ground and said, "If you wanted to kill us you would have done it before we started talking." Naruto smirked. "She have grown." He grunted as he brought his sword down with intent to kill. But Wood held his hand back. "Mokutan?" he asked in mid-surprise, hearing a voice. "Gatsugal?" "Fang over fang." And a quiet, "Kaden Gugakuo no just you." "Fire style." "Fireball just you." And lastly, "Mokutan no just you." Wood release technique. Analyzing all the incoming just you, he turned, flared his chakra and said, "Childori Naganshi, Childori stream." A massive amount of lightning chakra was expelled from his entire chakra points. Hinata, who was the closest, was electrocuted the most. Kiba with his Just You mid-air was knocked out. The wood and fire techniques were mysteriously absorbed by the lightning attack. His beyond reasoning now Kakashi, Guy said. Kakashi just raised the headband covering his eye as he spoke, "Don't kill him. Just knock him out. Got it?" Guy answered as they all rushed forward. Guy immediately appeared behind Naruto and attempted to knock him out, but Naruto step-sided the punch. Ino immediately prepared the hand seals for her family's Just You. Shintenshi no Just You, mind transfer technique. Mindscape. Ino found herself in a damp sewer. With curiously she started walking to the end where she saw light. Arriving there she was surprised to find nothing, just a vast space of emptiness. Then something wrapped around her. Yelling and turning in shock, she found herself face to face with the Kyuubi no Yoko. "You know it's not nice to invade others' privacy, right?" Its voice boomed at her with a roar. The Kyuubi ejected her forcefully from the mindscape. Outside mindscape. With a gasp, Ino was thrown back from her previous spot. As she flew back, hit a rock and passed out. Naruto just narrowed his eyes at the downed Yamanaka heiress, before dodging a punch from Sakura, and another from Sai. Sai brought out his short tanto, and with it attempted to begin a short Kenjutsu fight with Naruto, who immediately blocked the horizontal strike from Sai. Then he smirked as Sai's sword broke in two. Sai opened his eyes in surprise, but Naruto didn't give a time as he was knocked back with a flying kick from Naruto. Sakura leapt high in the sky and yelled, "Satenkyaku, heavenly kick of pain." Naruto raised his hands to block the incoming attack but was surprised when Kakashi appeared behind him with a fully powered, Reikuri, lightning blade. Naruto just tsked at the situation before calling on his Susanoo. Naruto's eyes widened a fraction as Sakura's attack cracked his Susanoo. "Is that what I wanted to block with my hands?" he thought in surprise. Kurenai, attending to Hinata, was watching from the corners of her eyes as Naruto disappeared in a yellow flash, appeared behind Kakashi and stabbed him with his sword, but Kakashi disappeared, signifying it was a clone. Asuma went through numerous hand seals and called out, "Kaden! Heizekisho, fire release ash pile burning." A cloud of ash was spewed from his mouth. As the ash gathered covered Naruto and his Susanoo, Asuma ignited it with a flint of his teeth before a huge explosion occurred. Everyone leapt back as a cloud of smoke covered Naruto and his Susanoo. In a flash of yellow, Naruto appeared behind Asuma and slashed his lower back with his sword, which was glowing white with lightning chakra visible round it. Everyone's attention was immediately on Naruto as they rushed towards him, ignoring the smoke still covering where Naruto previously stood. Naruto with his Susanoo protecting him and his eyes closed sensed where they all were and performed a couple hand seals before he called out, "Childori Senbon." Neji with his Byakugan saw the attack from behind but was too late to alert anyone since he was the first to receive the attack, making his entire system go numb. The Naruto fighting the team suddenly grinned as he glowed. Kakashi's eyes widened as he yelled for them to go back but was too late as the clone exploded. Naruto depowered his Susanoo, and with a swipe of his hands cleared the dust covering the place. Expecting to see the teams all passed out, he was surprised to find all standing with one flashing through hand seals before he called out, "Mokuton! Jubaku Iso, wood release tree bind flourishing." With no time to react, trees burst out around Naruto binding him. Naruto just stared Yamato as he came forward to knock him out. Then suddenly Yamato's eyes widened as blood sprouted from all parts of his body. Flaring his chakra, Naruto easily snapped the binds. Naruto activated his Sharingan again as Lee and Sasuke charged. Reading their movement, he easily countered their attack as they attacked in unison. "Naruto, why are you doing this?" Sasuke yelled, throwing punch after punch, which Naruto countered effortlessly. Lee came from behind. "Konoha Seppu, leave Hurricane," he called out. Bending down slightly, Naruto dodged the attack, but to Lee's surprise a hand came from nowhere and smacked him away like a troublesome fly. Naruto again had activated his Susanoo. Sasuke flashed through hand seals and called out, "Kaden Kan Senpu, fire-style flaming vortex." A vortex completely covered in flames flew towards Naruto, who just folded his hands and shook his head. Disappointing, he thought to himself. He raised his head, hearing a hissing sound, seeing dozens of kunais with paper bombs attached to it, sailing from Tenten's storage scroll. The kunai exploded when they came in contact with the Susanoo, But when the smoke cleared, Naruto was completely untouched. "I think I have dragged this battle long enough," he said, before leaping to the top of the hideout. He observed the conscious ones breathing heavily from Zetsu's earlier assault. Before he spoke, "You all have certainly improved, but I think it's time I end this." Clapping his hands together, Naruto separated it and a glowing red ball the size of a tennis was seen, throwing it to the skies, which immediately the clouds thickened as thunderclouds appeared. Kushio's Kirin. Summoning Kirin. A massive dragon completely covered in black lightning appeared. Taking control of the dragon with his lightning chakra, Naruto said, "Be gone with the sound of the thunderclap, Raiden, Kirin." Before the Just You struck, Sasuke's Sharingan changed slightly. The result was devastating as the entire hideout was destroyed. Naruto had to jump back slightly to avoid his Just You harming him. Naruto smirked, seeing a purple layer of chakra covering the teams. When the chakra dispersed, he saw Sasuke breathing heavily with blood leaking from the corners of his lips. Naruto, why? Sasuke thought before passing out. Naruto just sighed. Pathetic, he spat out. Raising his hands, chakra sparked around them. Before a Rasengan appeared, then it expanded and 4 blades started circling the ball of chakra. Then the Just You turned black as dark flames surrounded it. Naruto smirked. Enten. Rasen Shuriken, before a hand appeared from nowhere and grabbed it, causing the chakra to fade away. "That's enough, Naruto," Jiraiya ordered. Naruto just folded his hands and said quietly, "I told you not to interfere." Having said that, he disappeared in a yellow flash. The teams looked hopefully at the Gamma Sennin, who in turn flashed away. "Mission failed. So you couldn't bring him back?" Danzo asked Kakashi. After returning from the mission, Kakashi immediately went to report to the 5th Hokage, while telling the others to take a little time off, and he went and dropped Sasuke in the hospital. After arriving in the Hokage Tower, the council immediately called for a meeting to hear from him. "Council room. So you couldn't get him to come back?" Danzo asked. Kakashi just shook his head negative. "Why?" he asked again. "He was not sent to force him back, Danzo," Tsunade said. "When we arrived at the hideout Tsunade-sama described for us, we found numerous seals guarding the hideout. Even the Byakugan couldn't penetrate. Then we were attacked by countless clones of a white creature. They kept respawning. The more we killed, the more they respawned. Sasuke later found the source and destroyed it. We entered the hideout and spent several minutes looking for Naruto. We couldn't locate him. Then we found him. After a little conversation, he refused the offer and attacked." Kakashi just sighed. "What were his abilities?" Danzo asked. "Shikaku just tsked." Kakashi continued. "He was extremely fast. His mastery of the Sharingan overwhelmed us. A single glance and you were in his Genjutsu. He fought toe-to-toe with Guy without his weights. The last Just You he used that forced Sasuke to use his Susanoo was terrifying. He summoned a dragon from the heavens which completely destroyed Sasuke's Susanoo. If not for Jiraiya-sama's intervention, I don't think we would have made it back." The entire council room was silent as they absorbed what Kakashi just said. "Well?" Immediately the council doors burst open as Jiraiya stepped in. "Jiraiya!" Tsunade yelled happily, but a glare from Jiraiya silenced her. "I bring words from the Yondaime's legacy. If you want me back, you have to accept my terms," Jiraiya said as he threw a scroll to Tsunade, who caught it, read it and immediately answered, "We accept the terms open-handed." "What?" echoed through the halls. "Absent our permission?" the civilian council barked. Jiraiya just nodded and said, "Wise choice, because Orochimaru already approached him with a more generous offer." Then after those words he disappeared, signifying it was a clone all along. "Hokage-sama, what are the terms?" the Nara clan had asked. Tsunade tossed him the scroll, which he read out. "My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. I heard the plea from your council, who wanted me to return to the village where I was banished, to return and take part in the war between Konoha and Oto. You sent several teams to retrieve only me. Just me. But instead one of them was sent on a secret mission to kill me. If he had succeeded, I wouldn't be writing this now. I am coming back to Konoha for no other purpose than to preserve my great-grandfather's legacy. My terms are: the council have no right over me, as I am coming as a mercenary. My father's estate is where I will be staying. I refuse to train any Konoha shinobi whom I don't like. And lastly, my services are not free. 200 ryo will be paid into the Namikaze account before you will see any sign of me." "Well, the terms are not that bad," Choza. The Akamichi clan head spoke out, earning several nods from the council. Shikaku was observing Danzo since Naruto mentioned a secret mission to kill him. I hope my suspicions are not right, Danzo, he thought to himself before turning to the Hokage. Hokage-sama, I think we should send the money now, so he can arrive quickly. Tsunade nodded and turned to her assistant Shizune. Giving her a nod, she quickly dashed outside. So is the meeting? Not so fast, Danzo. Tsunade said. What is this about a secret mission to kill Naruto? She asked. I have no idea what you are talking about, Hokage-sama, Danzo said through his teeth. Tsunade just narrowed her eyes. If my grandson comes to Konoha, and you send those your Anbu to monitor him, I will grant him permission to kill anyone he finds suspicious near his estate, got it? Danzo just stared at Tsunade before a silent, hi, was heard. Okay, meeting adjourned. Hinata, having returned from her mission a few hours ago, was resting in her room. When Ko came and told her that her father needed her audience in his quarters, Hinata sighed and slowly walked towards her father's quarters while flashing backwards to what Naruto told her. My problem is not with you, Hyuga. She closed her eyes in hurt. Konoha bleeds as we speak, children dying. You have heard of the war going on between the Leaf and Orochimaru, right? I heard you are the descendant of Lord Hashirama, would he? Don't speak his name in my presence again, Hyuga. Naruto-kun, are you really gone? She thought as she had a flashback. Naruto and Hinata are seen having a picnic in the shade of a tree, with Naruto eating faster than Hinata could see. Hinata, this ramen is the best, he exclaimed happily, making Hinata blush slightly. Then Naruto dropped the ramen he was eating, making Hinata look up from her cinnamon buns. What is it, Naruto? Is it the ramen? Naruto shook his head. Hinata, I am really happy, he said as a few tears dropped from his eyes, making Hinata confused. Please promise me no matter what happens we won't forget each other. Hinata touched his cheeks and said, I promise, with tears in her face as they shared a kiss. Flashback end. Come in, Hinata. Heishi voice announced from within, snapping Hinata from her thoughts. Hinata exhaled, then stepped inside. I have called you here concerning your previous mission. Hinata just sighed. The mission to retrieve Naruto, although failed. Naruto set some terms for the council which we accepted, and he is to return to the village any moment from now. Hinata, although brightened up at this, was confused. If he wanted to come back he shouldn't have beaten us like that. What are the terms? I am giving you a mission. When Naruto comes, try to befriend him. Hinata eyes bulged out. What? You heard me right, Hinata. Or should Hanabi take this? No, I will do it. Hinata shuddered, making Heishi nod before continuing. The Namikaze clan has resources all around the shinobi world, and they own some shares in Konoha's resources, so it's not an option. Do not fail the clan, Hinata. Signaling her to leave, she got up with a sad expression. So it was for the clan after all. Is there any of your good side left, Toussaint? She thought, and immediately went straight to Neji's quarters. Neji-ni-san, Hinata said as she stepped into his quarters unannounced, and immediately regretted her decision as she saw Neji and Tenten in a hot makeout session. Neji and Tenten, like someone zapped by a lightning, jumped away from each other. What are you doing here, Hinata-sama? Neji shuddered out. Never mind, Hinata said, as she closed the doors and ran out. Anko-sensei is on a mission, so I don't think there will be training today. What to do? She thought while roaming through the streets of Konoha. After a while she saw Sakura exiting the ramen shop with a package in her hands. Hinata narrowed her eyes at the pink-haired Kunichi. Ever since Naruto's banishment, Hinata grew to hate Sakura, mostly keeping her distance from her, since she could not tell the difference between a kunai and a scroll. Sakura raised her eyes and saw Hinata staring at her with narrowed eyes. She just sighed and continued on her way. I will make this right, she thought, remembering her talk with Sasuke. Flashback. Sasuke opened his eyes, then winced in pain from the brightness of his surrounding. Blinking a few times he got used to the light. Turning he saw Sakura sleeping by his side. Sasuke blinked in confusion. Then the memories from the previous mission rushed in. He just gripped his hands so tightly that it turned white. So I wasn't strong enough. He just closed his eyes. Sakura woke up and saw him, smiling brightly. She hugged him. Sasuke just closed his eyes as another memory flashed in. Died demon. Sakura, why do you hate Naruto? Sakura just answered without hesitation. He hurt you, Sasuke-kun, and he's the container of the Kyuubi. Sasuke just gritted his teeth. Sakura, you are annoying? Sasuke-kun, what's the difference between a scroll and a kunai? Before Sakura could respond, he continued. When a kunai is sealed inside a scroll, does that make the scroll the kunai? Sakura was quiet. Sasuke just stood up and said, I don't hate you, Sakura. I admire you, but you act. Sasuke just sighed, then he shushined away, leaving Sakura in thought. Flashback end. Hinata kept staring at her till she was out of sight before a voice startled her. Keep staring and someone might get a bad idea, Hinata. Hinata raised her eyes in shock and saw Sasuke's Sakuke. Sakuke grinned and jumped down. Wanna eat? He said and didn't wait for Hinata's response before stepping into Ichiraku. Hinata just shook her head at Sasuke's antics. Ever since Naruto's banishment, Sasuke has grew to love ramen. Hinata stepped in as Sasuke was ordering. I need 2 bowls of vegetable ramen, he announced, turning to Hinata who sat by him. So how is going, Hinata? Hinata looked confused, seeing bandages covering his right hand before remembering he admitted in the hospital. Sasuke, have you been discharged? She asked. Sasuke just shook his head negative. Scenes from the previous mission again flashing through his mind. So he failed, huh? He thought out loud. Hinata just lowered her head, before remembering the conversation with her father. Sasuke, it's alright, Naruto is coming back, she said with a smile. Sasuke stared at her confused. My father said Naruto said a few terms for the council which they accepted and he is to come home tomorrow. Sasuke kept staring at Hinata before frowning. If he planned to come back, why all the trials and battles? And what are the terms? Hinata just shook her head, indicating she doesn't know. Sasuke just bit his thumb and thought. Unknown location. Naruto-sama, they agreed to the terms and the money has been sent to the account, White Zetsu said as he emerged in the middle of the room where Naruto and his team stood waiting. Suigetsu just whistled and said, that was fast, really fast. They are desperate, Jugo added. Karen just looked at Naruto. Ni-san. Naruto with his eyes closed and arms folded spoke, inform Ero Sennin to meet up later. Zetsu, opening his eyes which shown his Sharingan was active, spoke, let's go. Karen smiled brightly and with a hi, they disappeared. Konoha. The Konoha 12 were seated in the famous barbecue restaurant, and all appeared to be in thought, before Shikamaru broke the silence. I am not sure the terms are that bad, because if they are, then our parents wouldn't have told us. Sakura added. Tsunade Shisho even smiled when I asked her what the terms were. She just said, don't worry. Sasuke, who was quiet since they all meet, spoke, he is arriving today. They all looked at him in shock. What? Hinata asked. What do you mean? Choji added. How did you know, Sasuke-chan? Sai said. Sasuke just glared at him, having been the only one who has yet to forgive Sai for what he did during the last mission. Am the clan head of the Uchiha clan, fool. Sasuke said, anger clearly written on his face. Tsunade-sama told me a messenger bird was sent from Naruto saying he's coming today. Everyone was instantly quiet at that statement, so he's coming today. Hinata spoke out. Then an Anbu appeared and whispered something to Sasuke, whose eyes widened and nodded. Then the Anbu disappeared, leaving everyone looking at Sasuke expectantly. Sasuke with his hands crossed and eyes closed did the unexpected. He smirked. Shikamaru seeing this smiled. So he's back. Sasuke just said with a grin, he's back. Gate of Konohagakure. Having received message from the guards at the gate that Naruto and his team has arrived, Tsunade immediately notified the entire council to assemble at the council room in 5 minutes. Naruto and his team stood at the entrance of the village absorbing in its sights. Whistles, men? This village is. Whoa, Karen just said. Jugo just nodded, agreeing with Suigetsu for once today. All the while Naruto has been quiet, emotions running through his mind as he remembered what transpired during his last hours in the village. He just squeezed his fist. If not for my ancestors, I wouldn't have done this, he thought bitterly as he waited for the Hokage. After a few minutes, the Hokage, her assistant, and advisors appeared. "Welcome," Tsunade said beaming. Danzo quietly observed Naruto and his team. They all wore a cloak that covered their features except their faces. Danzo just grunted quietly as the Hokage spoke. "The council is waiting for us," Tsunade said as she directed them into the village. Naruto inhaled slightly as he stepped into the village. While walking, whispers started flying around. "So these are the ninjas the council hired. They don't look strong to me. Is it just me, or do they look a little young?" Naruto ignored them as he walked. Everyone was silent before a little boy came running in Naruto's direction, with several adults on his tail. The boy from Naruto's observation has obviously stole something from his pursuers. The boy kept running and for a split second looked back to gauge his distance from his pursuers. Turning forward, he ran into Naruto, who didn't move an inch. The boy fearfully gazed at Naruto's emotionless blue eyes. He raised his hands and yelped fearfully as Naruto bent down to his level. Naruto looked at the boy, and strangely the boy reminded him of his younger self. His eyes warmed a bit. Then he bent down and was not surprised when the boy reacted in fear. "It's okay, young one, I won't hurt you," he spoke softly. By now the whole street has stopped what they were doing, all focused on Naruto, who patted the boy's head. Then the pursuers spoke up. "Oi, do you know what he did?" Naruto just looked at him and spoke. "Whatever he did, I'm sure I can resolve it." "No, he must be puny." Naruto flared his chakra and they all backed away. Naruto's eyes narrowed, then he turned to the boy, reaching into his cloak. He gave the boy the fourth Hokage's famous kunai. Everyone seeing the kunai gasped openly. "Is that impossible? Who is this guy? When in trouble you can call me with this," he said to the boy. Then a strange wind blew and some of Naruto features were shown. The boy looked in awe as he whispered, "Yondaime-sama." Naruto's eyes widened a fraction. Then he smiled and ruffled the kid's hair. "What's your name, kid?" Sora." Naruto smiled. "See you around, Sora." He turned and started walking away. Then one of the pursuers turned to the kid and raised his fist. The kid in shock dropped the kunai and immediately Naruto in a yellow flash appeared. Held the attacker's fist and with a little tap to his chest, the man flew a few meters from his original position and finally crashing in a nearby store. The onlookers' mouths were on the floor as they processed what just happened. "Is that Yondaime-sama, from the dead? Who is this guy? Hiraishin?" Naruto just sighed and continued walking. The entire onlookers divided in two rows for Naruto to pass, some shaking visibly. Karen smiled. I think I'm beginning to like this village." Suigetsu just nodded. "It will be fun working with them." Jugo as usual was quiet, but he nodded. "Council room. Your terms have been accepted. Thanks for meeting us, Uzumaki Naruto," the Hokage said. Naruto just nodded. Then the Hokage spoke again. "You can go and settle in your father's estate. By tomorrow we will get to you." Danzo immediately spoke out. "We must know the identity of your other teammates before you can leave and take off that hood of yours." The civilian council nodded, backing him up. Tsunade just narrowed his eyes. "If you mess this up for us, Danzo, I won't forgive you." Naruto was quiet and the Nara clan head said, "If you don't feel like doing it, you." "Quiet, Shikaku," a civilian merchant interrupted. Shikaku just narrowed his eyes. "What did you say, Heisho?" The now identified Heisho clicked his tongue. "You heard me right, Shikaku?" Shikaku gritted his teeth. Inochi, head of the Yamanaka clan, stood up along with the Akamichi clan head Choza. "What did you say?" Immediately the council room was in an uproar. Naruto just shook his head at the council's antics, then a strange sound flew through his ears. With inhuman reflexes he dogged the incoming shuriken as his Sharingan snapped to life. "Snap out of it, Naruto, this is only a genjutsu." The Kyuubi roared, flooding Naruto's system with his chakra, but to his surprise his chakra backfired. The council froze as the unforgettable chakra washed over them. They all blinked in horror and looked at Naruto, who was on his knees panting slightly. Jugo and Karen blinked in surprise, then rushed to him, supporting him. "Ni-san, what happened?" Karen said. Naruto just panted, before inhaling sharply, then he whispered, "Genjutsu." Naruto's team gasped openly. "Genjutsu? Impossible." Karen raised her head, sensing a large amount of chakra. "What is this chakra?" "What's happening?" Heisho asked. "Was that the Kyuubi chakra?" He continued. Suigetsu uprooted Karikirabocho from its sheath as he called out, "All right, come out, whoever you are." The council was surprised as everywhere was silent. The Hokage's guard appeared close to her. Then clapping was heard. "You broke out of my genjutsu, remarkable," a strange feminine voice said. Naruto smirked as he stood independently. As expected of the Yondaime's legacy, the voice continued. Out of the shadows came a strange figure concealed in blue cloak. Her easily noticeable big were what Naruto used to finalize she is a female. Naruto with a straight face asked, "What do you want?" Then the lady laughed. Now, isn't it proper to ask of a person's name first?" she asked cheerfully. "Well, let's go to somewhere we won't be interrupted." Snapping her fingers, Naruto looked around, seeing himself in a strange place similar to his pocket dimension. Naruto raising an eyebrow, to his surprise the lady appeared and licked his cheeks and appeared in her original position. All this happened in a blink. Naruto leapt back. "This lady is dangerous," Kurama echoed in Naruto's mind. "Don't take her lightly, Naruto." Naruto responded, making Kurama sweat drop. Just as I remembered, the skin, the taste, Naruto smirked as he brought out his gunbai, Madara's fan, and said, "I don't know what you are talking about, but you are going down." The lady with her index finger motioned for Naruto to attack, but Naruto didn't move. Then I will come to you," she roared as she charged. Naruto's Sharingan pulsed as she neared. Reading her movement, Naruto intercepted a roundhouse kick, then countered as he used his gunbai to hit her, hardly as she flew a few meters back. "As expected of you, Namikaze. While I don't like getting my hands dirty, let's take this to another level, shall we?" Flashing through hands size faster than Naruto could follow, she yelled. Sweden. Baku Sui Shuha water style, great exploding water wave. Naruto smirked. Funny using water against a lighting user. With a single handseal, Naruto extended his palm, releasing a high discharge of electricity as he called out his technique. Raishin Sanda Baroto, lighting release thunderbolt. Naruto's Just You traveled and hit the incoming water attack. The lighting Just You electrocuted the strange lady as the wave of water was cancelled. The lady stood up showing no sign of pain, making Naruto blink in surprise within. "I forgot for a second I was not fighting with her." "Her?" Naruto questioned inwardly. The lady charged at Naruto, who kept his cool. Nearing him, the strange lady threw a left hook which Naruto step-sided. Seeing an opening, Naruto wanted to counter when an invisible force from nowhere slammed full force against his face, throwing him back a good distance away from their position. Naruto twisted his body in mid-air, landing with his hand on the floor. Naruto touched his cheeks, feeling them throbbing painfully. What was that attack? He thought. The strange lady cracked her hands. "If you don't take me seriously." Naruto stood up emotionlessly, then he snapped his eyes open, displaying his Mangekyo. "Looks like I have been playing, time to get serious." With a little step forward he disappeared. The strange lady grinned, then brought her arms in an X sign as she blocked Naruto's punch. Naruto twisted and threw a 360 kick which the lady bent down, and retaliated with an uppercut which Naruto phased right through. With a chakra-enhanced punch, Naruto sent the lady flying back at great speeds. The lady's eyes widened as Naruto appeared on top of her, delivering a punch to her stomach which sent her towards the ground. Nearing the ground, Naruto again appeared and kicked her in the waist, sending her tumbling away. Standing up, the lady smirked. Naruto was slightly confused. All through the battle he tried to get a good look at her face, but that seemed impossible. "You uphold your name, I will be back, but not for you. For her, so make her ready, we are destined to fight. Now I see you are holding a meeting. I hate to be a nuisance, so I will take my leave now. We will meet again, Namikaze." Naruto blinked, the world shattered into 1,000 pieces. "Just so you know, you never broke out of my genjutsu, Namikaze," the voice said, making a bead of sweat roll down Naruto's side. "Just who is this woman, and who is this, her, she spoke about?" Naruto found himself in the council room, the council still bickering. "Enough," Naruto said. Immediately everywhere was silent. Naruto nodded to his team. Then he removed his hood, as did his team. Everywhere was just silent, taking in the looks of the strange figures assembled before them. "You have seen us, now I will take my leave. I will be available for missions tomorrow." In a yellow flash they all disappeared. The council was dumbfounded. Was that troublesome? Sighs. "Well, the good thing is that they are on our side." "Alright, meeting adjourned," Tsunade said. Namikaze Estate. Arriving in a flash, Naruto said, "Pick any room you want. No disturbances," he said emotionlessly. Ni-san? Karen cut in. Naruto turned. HN? Karen gestured ahead then started walking towards the garden of the Namikaze estate while taking in its sights. Men, I got to hand it to the fourth Hokage, Suigetsu said. He sure is loaded. Jugo just nodded. I will take the room close to that tree, he added pointing to a tree full of birds, some already flying to him. Yay yay, Suigetsu said walking to where Jugo presumed was the dining room. Meanwhile, what happened to Ni-san? Karen started having reached the garden. HN? Karen sighed. When we were at the council room for a split second your chakra. Naruto just frowned flashing back to the strange lady. I forgot I was not fighting with her. Train her. Nothing gets past you Karen-chan, Naruto said with a little smile. Karen just smiled slightly as she hugged Naruto. You can confide in me Ni-san. Naruto sighed. Genjutsu. He said. Karen immediately looked up to his face. I was in a genjutsu, it was only for a split second. So Naruto explained all to her, leaving no detail. Now all I need to figure out is that her. Karen posed a thoughtful look as she said, ever since she didn't meet us immediately we came to Konoha, not even an hour she came. I suspect this is from Konoha here. Naruto just switched to his emotionless face. I am not here to reconcile with people who betrayed me in the first place, Naruto said as he turned and started walking away. Even Hinata? Karen said making Naruto stop. You and I both know she didn't do anything wrong Ni-san. Naruto with his back turned flashed back to the day he and Hinata shared their first kiss, her homemade ramen, their promise. Naruto just clenched his fist, then he released it, sighed, and continued walking away. Before Karen called out, I'm going to visit Tsunade Bachan, Naruto didn't stop but just said, take Suigetsu with you. Unknown location. The Namikaze has joined forces with Konoha, a voice stated. Change of plans then, we attack early, another voice said. Hi? The candle burning showed the features of the speaker which has white skin with purple eyes and golden snake-like pupils. Orochimaru-sama, Konoha. Karen, I am hungry, Suigetsu said. Having told Suigetsu of her plans to visit Tsunade, Suigetsu agreed to follow her, then started complaining about hunger. And this isn't the road to the Hokage's tower? Karen just kept quiet. Wait. You have another plan, right? Then Karen smirked. After some time of randomly walking, Karen bumped into a person who fell to her butt. Am Sor Rai. The person shuddered out in a small and shy voice. Karen just grinned. Exactly who I'm looking for. Hinata, having left the Konoha 11, went to practice secretly, then she went to buy some cinnamon roll and was going home while thinking about Naruto and wishing she could meet him. It would seem like Lady Luck was on her side as she raised her looking at the person she bumped into. The said person stretched her hands which she took and got up. Anyo, Hyuga Hina Ata, she responded shuddering, nice to meet you Hinata. Sorry for, no problem. Well I have other things to do, Hinata said as she continued walking. Then she turned and saw Karen walking away. Hey, Karen turned with a smile. What's your name? Karen, Namikaze Uzumaki Karen, she said and continued walking. Hinata also turned and after a few moments the name registered on her head. Immediately she turned but Karen and her accomplice were nowhere to be seen. Naruto's sister, are you in position? Hi, alright, move in. Wait, there's something coming. Know someone, blonde hair, Sharingan? It's Namek. Seisho, are you there? Seisho isn't coming, he's dead. An emotionless voice said, and I'm coming for you. All of you. The night was filled with bloody deafening screams. Ever since Naruto agreed to help Konoha, the tables has turned in favor of Konoha, the Sound and Rock's troops have been slowly pushed back. Naruto and his team were mainly used for heavy assault seeing they had more manpower. Ever since Onoki heard the Yondaime's kid has joined Konoha, he began having second thoughts about the war. But Orochimaru encouraged him that he's developing a new plan which will cripple the Yondaime's legacy, so they set the plan in motion. Konoha. Sasuke breathed heavily gripping his hands as sweat slid down his side. Inhaling sharply he flashed through hand signs then his cheeks puffed out. Kaden. Goryuka no just you. He thought as he released a massive fire attack, the shape of a dragon. The technique flew straight to the sky making it darken for the umpteenth time that day. The previously launched fire attack started creating powerful raising air current that started generating thunderclouds. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, and the sound of 1,000 birds chirping was heard. Childori, he thought. Raising his arm to the heavens, he summoned the familiar technique he memorized from Naruto. Ration. Kirin, he said, as the powerful technique appeared. He brought down his arm as the technique roared in response, clashing against the earth as dust and debris filled the whole training ground. Coughing dryly, the Uchiha stood up and observed his handiwork, still not powerful enough, he thought, wiping a bead of sweat from his brows. So the Uchiha is trying to imitate Naruto-sama. He better hear of this. A plant-like creature said as he sinked to the earth and disappeared without a trace. Namikaze Estate. Inhaling slightly, Naruto's eyes snapped open, showing his fully developed Sharingan. Chakra burst from within him, creating a little dent on the floor. Then yellow lightning coated his body in form of armor as his hair flapped according to his chakra. He disappeared and all was silent for a few seconds before he appeared again as the armor faded. This better be something good, he said suddenly as he turned. Zetsu. Zetsu nodded. Sasuke is trying to copy your just you, he said as Naruto turned, giving him full attention. The Kirin? Naruto just scoffed. In pain has ordered Deidara and Sasori to capture the Kage. He finished, then he jumped out of his skin as Naruto yelled, "What?" Appearing in a blink, Naruto grabbed him. "What did you say?" They are not there. Why yet?" he choked out. Naruto dropped him as he walked off. "Keep me posted," he said, making Zetsu swallow a dry throat at the coldness of his voice. Hinata hasn't been in a good mood this particular morning. First she woke up and received a long boring lecture concerning the success of the clan. Then Kiba decided to appear, pestering her on a date. That wasn't enough. Her normal bakery where she purchased cinnamon rolls was locked for reasons unknown to her. She walked aimlessly trying to clear her mind when she found herself at the training grounds. Looking around, she observed that someone decided to get up early and scarred the training grounds. Without hand seals, she activated her Byakugan before sighing. Walking up to the unconscious figure, she shook her head and said, "You will never stop, Sasuke-kun." She observed that he passed out from chakra overuse. After healing him and forcing a soldier pill down his throat, Sasuke joined the conscious world. Blinking, Sasuke groaned as he blinked again, seeing Hinata beside him. "What happened?" "I thought I told you to stop overtraining, ne? Sasuke-kun." Hinata sighs. "You are a hard nut to crack, you know?" Sasuke tried sitting and winced. "Calm down." Sasuke sighed. "I still have a long way to go." Hinata, downcast, just smiled painfully and said, "I know how you feel, Sasuke." Then she looked at him. "But on the bright side, he's with us now," she continued, "so let's look at it from another angle." Sasuke just looked on as a single tear just dropped from his eye, then he smiled. "Another angle, huh?" Hinata nodded, then Sasuke grinned. Then Hinata's head snapped upwards as she said, "You can come out now." "Oh, so there's more to you than meet the eyes, eh, Hinata-chan?" Landing with ease, Hinata's eyes widened as she shuddered out, "Karen?" Sasuke just looked on in confusion before he flashed back to his brief battle with Naruto, a redhead stopping him from delivering the final blow. "So she's Naruto's sister." "Hello, Hinata," Suigetsu said, making his presence known, showing him eating what Hinata recognized as sushi. Hi, what are you doing here?" "Oh, Karen just wanted to see." Sasuke's eyes widened as golden chain appeared from the tree's branch close to Suigetsu and whipped him, making him yell comically as he fell down. "Don't mind him, Hinata," Karen said with a small smile. "We were just passing by when we saw you guys and decided to stop." Hinata just nodded, still surprised she was talking to Naruto's sister. "Oh, Sasuke, this is Karen, Naruto's sister. We kinda meet during our last mission, Karen Sasuke," Hinata said, introducing both of them. Karen just looked at the Uchiha with an unreadable expression, while Sasuke was observing her with the same facade. "So this is the famed last Uchiha. I'm not impressed." "So this is Naruto's sister. I'm not impressed." Suigetsu got up and said, "Oi, Karen, what was that for?" he said, rubbing his forehead, which was the first part of his body to touch the ground. So what? I mean," Hinata sighed inwardly, beating herself for not even bringing an ounce of conversation, only increasing the tension. Having stared at the Uchiha long enough, she was brought out of her stupor when Sasuke smirked. Karen raised an eyebrow. "What the hell?" "Namikaze Uzumaki Karen," Sasuke said, smirking. Karen just raised an eyebrow, then Sasuke continued. See something you like? Hinata's eyes widened in horror while Suigetsu burst out laughing loudly. Sasuke carried a smug look on his face. Karen just frowned slightly, then she smirked. Actually, there's nothing I see, since you Uchihas are rumored to be small in that area. Suigetsu doubled in his laughter, holding his stomach while rolling on the floor. Hinata had to stifle a giggle seeing the weird look on Sasuke's face. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, having stood up straight. He gripped his sword and made to attack. But all of a sudden the laughing Suigetsu was at his side with Kurikiribucho drawn. You better not try anything your power can't withstand when the consequences comes back to face you, Uchiha. A bead of sweat rolled down Sasuke's sides, fearing for his life, as Suigetsu in a nanosecond has appeared behind him. Suigetsu, stand down, Karen said. Suigetsu just sighed as his demeanor instantly changed to his normal carefree one. Then he grinned, showing his shark-like teeth, and not a word of this to Aniki. Karen said before she looked at Hinata, who has been quiet all through. Come with me, Hinata. Hinata gasped in shock. Emmy? Karen smiled. Don't worry, I don't bite. Hinata hesitantly followed Karen, who turned back and said to Suigetsu, behave. Suigetsu just grinned. It's not like I can beat him, he said, motioning to Sasuke. Even if he's weak, he can still use me as a training dummy. Karen said nothing but continued walking as Hinata jogged to meet up with her. As they left, Suigetsu turned to Sasuke and remembered what Karen said. He immediately burst out laughing, while Sasuke just glared at him. So what do you want to talk about, Karen-chan? Hinata asked after a few minutes of walking with Karen, who was rather quiet since they started walking. Karen stopped, earning a look from Hinata, then she sighed and turned to her. I need to be completely honest with me, Hinata. Hinata just stared in confusion before she nodded. Do you still love my brother? Hinata without blinking answered. Hi, with all my heart. Karen nodded and smiled. Then I need something. Hinata motioned for her to continue. I want you to tell me what happened between you two. Hinata just blinked in confusion. I don't really know, he came back from Sasuke's retrieval mission. Then I overheard my father talking with the elders about his banishment. I ran and informed him, but he seemed confident on Tsunade-sama's administration. But that didn't fend well with him, and he was banished. He didn't even come to say goodbye. That did it. As Hinata instantly broke down. Karen just walked forward and warped her arms around her, consoling the Hyuga heiress, who released the built-up feelings on Naruto's sister. Shush, it's okay. Then a few weeks ago we meet after many years. Instead of a warm embrace, he responded with a cold shoulder, threatened to kill me, and even went for it. Hinata sniffled. I'm sorry, she said with teary eyes. It's okay. I don't know what I did wrong, honestly. Karen just sighed. Naruto can be emotionless at times, but he's still the caring boy you feel in love with. It's just that he doesn't show it out. And I thought you were the one at fault. Please forgive me, Hinata. It's alright, it's not your fault. When I meet him I will knock him into next week. No, Hinata countered. I will be the one to face him. I need his full explanation on why he acted that way. Karen nodded, fully understanding Hinata. I think you and I are going to get along just fine, Hinata. Suigetsu sighed again, feeling the full force of boringness attacking him. He wanted to scream in frustration until he sighted Hinata and Karen coming. Took you long enough. Where's Sasuke? Hinata asked. Left, stating he need to do something. Are we leaving now? Hi. Walking through the halls of the corridor granted light by the dim candles, a silver-haired nin stopped in front of the last door in the hall before opening it. Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto said as he stepped in the Sannin's chambers. The snake Sannin looked up from the book he was fixated on. The Tsuchi Kage has been rather uncooperative these few weeks. He stopped when Orochimaru closed his book, but continued when he was motioned to continue. He has stopped sending his troops to aid our forces in taking back the tower near the fire borders, the Uzumaki retook from us. Orochimaru frowned visibly. Damn that old man. He folded his hands in thought before he looked at Kabuto and said, then we readjust our timetable. Kabuto nodded. So, should I arrange it now? In which Orochimaru nodded. Stepping in vast room lit with candles to brighten the place, Kabuto stood up from his kneeling position as Orochimaru entered. Let's begin, he said, ignoring the muffled saying of the unknown nin tied to the floor. Kabuto stepped back and watched as Orochimaru flashed through numerous hand seals. For what seemed like an endless minute of watching, Orochimaru stopped as slammed his hands on the floor yelling. Kacheose. Edo Tensai no just you, summoning impure world reincarnation. The mysterious ninja tied to the floor screamed in horror as chakra covered his body wrapping him up, and in his place stood a familiar figure. Kukuku, welcome back to the land of the living. The figure opened his eyes showing light green colored eyes. He had a pale skin with shoulder-length white hair. He had 2 red dots on his forehead. His attire consisted of a light lavender, loose-fitting, long-sleeved, zip-up shirt, black pants cut off around mid-calf, traditional shinobi sandals, and a purple, rope-like belt tied in an inverted bow around his waist. A familiar mark appeared on his through before it glowed, showing it was the cursed seal. Kimimaru-kun. Orochimaru finished chuckling evilly, before he started coughing, which brought him to his knees as the hands he used to cover his mouth was filled with blood. Kabuto rushed to him. Orochimaru-sama, time for your drug. Orochimaru nodded weakly before looking up at the reincarnated shinobi. He said, brief him. Kabuto nodded. But you need your drug first. No, the mission comes first. Hi. Orochimaru shakily stood up by himself and walked away, leaving Kabuto with an unreadable expression before he turned to Kimimaru, who looked up. Kabuto-san. Kabuto just smiled. A purple portal opened as 3 figures stepped out, 2 seen visibly and 1 like a silhouette. You know your orders, no delay. You know what to do when it's captured, the silhouette spoke. Hi, Leader Sama, Sasori said, making the now identified leader whose eyes glowed a terrifying purple nod before his eyes pulsed as another portal opened before he stepped inside, vanishing with the portal. Phew, Leader Sama sure is scary when he wants to be. Sasori didn't respond, just continued walking. Wait up, Sasori Dana, he yelled as he jogged to meet up with him. After several minutes they came across the walls of Suna. Leave it to Leader Sama, cutting 4 days' journey to just 30 minutes. Then Deidara looked at Sasori. I think I will go first. Sasori just nodded. You know my rule, Deidara, don't K? Yay, we all know your rule, Sasori Dana, but my art will exceed your expectation this time. He continued before bringing his palms from his pockets as he rubbed them together. Because you already know, Sasori Dana. My art always exceeded your expectation. Separating his palms, a small clay bird was shown before he jumped and at the same time threw it up before he landed. The small bird with a poof of smoke swept him off his feet, having grown bigger. Gaara looked out the window of the Kage building, noticing a strange bird circling the village. Strange. A knock snapped him from his thoughts. Come in. Baki stepped in and knelt down. Gaara-sama. A message, he said, stretching his hands showing a scroll. Sand extended from the Kage gourd and willed the collected scroll to him. I will take my leave now, Baki said before leaving the Kage. Gaara looked at the scroll for a moment, already aware of whom it's from before he opened it, confirming his suspicions. Gaara, I just found out that the Akatsuki are moving in on you. I don't know the exact time they will be there, but watch your back, and you have my kunai. Any form of trouble, you know what to do. I will be there in a flash to help. And one last thing, do not trust any of your shinobi. There are spies everywhere. From Naruto. Gaara looked up to his shelf and walked up to it. Opening it, he began searching for something. After several minutes he frowned. I could have sworn I kept the kunai here. Sighing, he looked out the window again, seeing the bird circling the village. That's not an ordinary bird. This Kage is hard to find. Deidara said with frustration, having circled the village several times with no sign of him. He wanted to turn back when a figure came into his line of sight. Concentrating on it, he smirked, before directing his creation towards the person. You sure are hard to track, Kage. There are no birds like that in this desert. Akatsuki scum. You are going down. Ha, real funny. I will show you my real work of art. Clapping his palms together, Deidara separated them, showing tiny spider-like creatures before he hauled them at the young Kage. Gaara, with his arms crossed and a bored expression, watched with disinterest as the weird creatures came at him. Just a few meters away from him, sand appeared, trapping them, making Deidara nod in approval. Hope you won't bore me in this battle. Then he took off to the sky, making Gaara's eyes narrow. You won't get away from me, he said as sand gathered around his feet, making him gain height as he followed Deidara with a burst of speed. Same as Cannon. Kimimaru jumped from tree to tree, a single destination in his mind, Konoha. remembering the conversation he had with Kabuto concerning the sole purpose of his resurrection. Flashback. Kimimaro, as you can see Orochimaru-sama is seriously sick, Kabuto said while walking through the large halls of their hideout. Kimimaro nodded. As to why you have been resurrected? Kabuto turned and looked at him. There's a war going on, between us and Konoha. The Yondaime's legacy Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto is aiding them, making the tides change, and not in our favor. Then Kimimaro asked, Yondaime's legacy? Kabuto nodded. That blonde Uzumaki kid you fought when you went to retrieve Sasuke. Kimimaro's eyes widened slightly, him huh? But during our battle he showed no signs of containing a strong gene. His battle tactics back then were poor, unless during my absence something happened. Kabuto nodded and went further to explain how Naruto's seal was released by Sasuke making him awaken his bloodline. Kimimaro nodded. But that doesn't answer why I'm alive again. Naruto is currently in love with a girl, she the head of the Hyuga's clan daughter, Hiashi. Kimimaro nodded now understanding. You are to sneak into Konoha, abduct the girl and bring her here. That alone will bring Naruto down to his knees. Kimimaro nodded. Flashback end. I better hurry. Zetsu appeared to where Karen and Suigetsu were having a conversation making Karen raise an eyebrow seeing he was nervous. Zetsu, what happened? Karen asked. Well, why you see? Oh please spit it out already, Suigetsu yelled. The Kage has been kidnapped, he blurted out. What? Inhaling slightly, the Kage has been kidnapped, Karen and Suigetsu gasped. What? Gaara? Running towards the Namikaze estate Karen yelled out to him. Is Aniki aware? Zetsu just swallowed and shook his head negative. Karen gritted her teeth in frustration as she increased her speed. Naruto calmly meditating opened his eyes when he felt Karen's chakra moving towards him, and at an insane pace. What could be the problem? Standing up and stretching himself, Karen burst through the doors. Aniki Gaara has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki, she nearly yelled. Naruto's Sharingan pulsed as his chakra flared calmly. He called out. Zetsu. The creature emerged from the ground shaking visibly. Explain. Leader Sama possesses the Rinnegan. I thought I had observed all the abilities but I never knew he could cross dimension in matter of seconds. Deidara and Sasori hunt for the Ichibi could have taken days, but with his visual prowess he reduced it to minutes. Naruto nodded and looked at Suigetsu and Jugo, the latter who was breathing heavily. Get prepared. Meet me at the gate in 5 minutes, he said before he flashed away. Naruto was waiting at the main entrance of Konoha when he sensed a presence behind him. It seems you are on another unauthorized journey out of the village, Namikaze? Without turning, Naruto answered. I don't think I answer to you, he said, turning to face his speaker, Danzo. Naruto's head snapped up as he bent down, touched the ground, and in a flash of yellow his other teammates were there. Ignoring Danzo, he said, let's go. With an impressive amount of speed they set out of the village, making Danzo frown in disapproval. Akatsuki hideout. Pain with his eyes closed concentrated, reaching out to the duo he just sent out, then their silhouette appeared. Report, leader ordered. Deidara with a noticeable single arm yelled. The fucking Kage ripped my arm off. I think they already noticed it, Deidara. Sasori said before he turned to Pain. The Kage has been captured, we are on our way now. Pain nodded, pleased with the news. Hidan, Kakuzu, you're to capture the Nanabi next, making the latter of the zombie duo smirk, while the other nodded. I have pressing matters at hand. Once you get here you know what to do. Meeting adjourned. Jumping swiftly from tree to tree, Naruto just gritted his teeth. Gaara, hang in there, I'm coming for you. Sensing a presence ahead, he motioned for his team to stop. Black Zetsu waited calmly for the Namikaze heir standing upright. He nodded as Naruto and his team stopped. Naruto's eyes narrowed with his Sharingan active. As you are the only one to come in person, it means this is a matter of urgency. Black Zetsu nodded. It seems that Pain visual prowess are growing, and at a fast rate at that. White Zetsu added. The extraction of the Ichibi will soon begin. Naruto nodded and his eyes switched to the Mangekyo. Tsukuyomi, he thought as he locked eyes with Zetsu. Just a second later Zetsu spoke. We are been called now, you better hurry. White Zetsu added again, making Black Zetsu sigh before using his Kagero, Mayfly, to disappear without a trace of being there. Let's hurry, Naruto said calmly. His team nodded as they followed him. Then Suigetsu decided to speak. That black guy gives me the creeps, he said as he shuddered visibly, and it seemed weird that he just came and said a little. He added, you need to get your sensory abilities checked. Jugo spoke ever so calmly. Suigetsu turned to him and sweat dropped, when Naruto's chakra flared, even if it was a small amount. You didn't notice? Jugo added, making Suigetsu frown. So whatever that guy and Naruto talked about was inside the Tsukuyomi. Got it now? He thought with a big grin, before adding a burst of chakra to his feet as he disappeared, catching up to the others. Naruto came to a stop outside the clearing of the forest, seeing a little lake with a giant boulder in the middle of it. He jumped and landed expertly without disrupting the stilled water flow. The others landed close and Karen spoke up, it's a 5-sealed barrier, meaning the. No time for that, Naruto interrupted as he turned to look at them, his Mangekyo active. He extended his arm as chakra was visible in it. Karen grabbed hold of it, then extended her arm to Jugo, who grabbed and extended to Suigetsu. Naruto turned. Hand in hand they walked forward towards the boulder. At the rate pain is going this, before 30 minutes the Ichibi will be extracted. The strange creature looked at the leader of the Akatsuki, whose eyes were closed. Then he smirked, to easy, before his head snapped up. So did Pain Eyes as they looked at the entrance of the hideout, seeing 4 individuals phase from the rock into the hideout, making Pain Eyes narrow. By now all the Akatsuki has taken notice of this as Deidara yelled, what the fuck? Pain just narrowed his eyes again. A few minutes from now this Biju will be extracted. If Deidara and Sasori cut their connection to hold them off, it will only prolong the time of the extraction. Naruto looked up at the floating Gaara, whose chakra was being absorbed in the strange statue with different silhouette on its fingers. 1.2. 7.10. Gaara's groan brought Naruto out of his thoughts before the gears in his head started turning. Without thinking about the implication he ran forward. A black katana appeared in a burst of lightning as he grabbed it, before he leapt to the strange mist absorbing Gaara's chakra. Naruto stopped this madness. Kurama within Naruto yelled, but was too late as Naruto chakra flared at insane proportions. He grasped the katana as he yelled. Uzumaki style. Getsuga Tensho. The result was immediately processed as the strange sword emitted a slash of energy that cut clean through the mist, and it continued traveling towards the roof of the hideout before a loud boom, and the hideout was in ruin. In the commotion a loud "What?" was heard as Pain refused to believe what his purple eyes just showed him.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.